celebrate. But obviously, the more that we understand about what it is that we're celebrating, what the Yom Tov is actually about, the more meaningful the Yom Tov is going to be for us. So just like if you're making a chasana, and you can come to the chasana just thinking about the dresses and the high heels and the flowers, because that's what we have to be busy with when we're making a chasana. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. If we spend time thinking about the more meaningful details, what exactly happens on the chuppah, what exactly a chasana means, all these things, we will appreciate the moment so much more, and the flowers won't be the be-all and end-all, but they will be the beautifying of the pnimius. Yeah? So we're here to learn about Matan Torah. What are we celebrating on Shavous? What is Matan Torah? What has Hashem given us? What's the big joy? Okay, so it seems very simplistic. Hashem gave us a present. He gave us a Torah. It's wonderful. But 1 second. Torah was learned before Matan Torah. We know that the Avos learned Torah. Yeshivas Shem ve'ever. Yaakov Avinu runs away from his brother Esav. He goes to Haran. The Mefarshim tell us he spent 14 years learning in Yeshivas Shem ve'ever, and he didn't even sleep at night those 14 years. There's so much Torah to learn. What Torah was Yaakov Avinu learning for 14 years if the Torah wasn't given yet? So they had Torah. I mean, they did. He had 14 years what to learn. Okay? Yaakov and the 17 the fascists were all going down to Mitzrayim, and Yaakov sends Yehuda ahead. Yehuda should set up yeshivas in Mitzrayim. Yeshivas to learn what? The Torah, obviously. So they had the Torah before Matan Torah. Those who learned. Not everybody. Those who learned. Shevet Levi. All the Yidden were slaves in Mitzrayim, and Shevet Levi were learning Torah. What Torah were they learning? Torah. Same Torah we learn today. So Matan Torah, it couldn't have been that Hashem gave us the learning of the Torah. Is that agreeable? Yeah? Okay. So does that question your whole understanding of what Matan Torah is? Okay. So it couldn't have been the learning of the Torah. It also could not have been the mitzvahs, because we know that the Avos kept the mitzvahs. Maseches Yoma Gemara tells us that Avram Avinu even kept Erev Tavshilin. Now Erev Tavshilin is Drabanan, just to be clear, yeah? Drabanan means it's not even in the Chumash, it's in the Gemara, yeah? So we're saying that mitzvahs Drabanan were known already by the Avos and kept. So the Chiddush of Matan Torah could not just be Kiyam HaMitzvahs, because not everybody kept mitzvahs before Matan Torah. Yes, the Yidden were very surprised when Moshe came up with all these Shabbos and different things. It was new to them, but it wasn't unknown ever. So Matan Torah could not have been about the learning of the Torah, and it could not have been about the keeping of mitzvahs, because these things were known before. So then what are we celebrating about Matan Torah? Matan Torah was a huge thing. We know that the whole world stopped. The whole world is silent. There's thunder, there's lightning, the cloud, the asham, the smoke on the mountain, and Hashem's voice reverberating throughout the world, and the Yidden parcha, neshmasa, and the neshamas escaped them, right? It's a very, Maimon Har Sinai is a very intense time. And what does Hashem tell them at Maimon Har Sinai? What does Hashem say? Lo titzach, lo sin'af, lo signoiv. I think I got the water wrong, right? Sorry. What? The whole world has to stop to tell you not to steal and not to kill? Were we a folk of murderers? Come on, right? No. So Matan Torah, what is Maimon Har Sinai about? Why does the whole world have to stop? What are we commemorating each year? So unfortunately, in too many shiurim, the question is made very big and the answer is made very small. So let's not elaborate on the question anymore, because that gets to the answer, yeah? What is Matan Torah? We're coming to Shavous, a week and a half. What are we celebrating? What are we thanking Hashem for? What are we tapping into every single year again? What are we getting excited about? What is this beautiful, amazing, incredible, beautiful day of Matan Torah? First and foremost, the Chiddush of Matan Torah is explained to us in a beautiful medrash in Shmos Rabbah. Okay, so that's Medrash Rabbah on Shmos. And we'll read the Medrash, we'll explain it, and we'll discuss it a little bit further. So the Medrash starts with the pasuk, Hashamayim shamayim laHashem, va'aretz nasu livnei Adam. The heavens are the heavens of Hashem, and the earth belongs to man. What does it mean the heavens belong to Hashem? Which heavens? When we say shamayim, we don't mean the physical heavens, obviously, right? So that's part of Brias Ha'olam. Just like we on earth heaven, Shamayim, Milky Way, stars and planets, is so far from us, so exalted from us. We sit there and we think how small we are compared to all these stars out there, right? It gives us this feeling of distance. Likewise, from the physical to the spiritual, from us to the Abish's reality, is such a stretch that we call it Shamayim, because it's the furthest thing that we know about. Hashem looks to us, Habet Mishamayim Urei, Hashem looks to us from the heavens. Yeah? Where's Hashem? Up there. Hashem's everywhere. Okay. Yeah? Okay. So, Hashemayim Shemayim La Hashem. Spiritual matter is the Abishtas. Ha'aretz, physical matter, Nothing of the Adam, belongs to people. This is the pasuk. And then the Medrash says, Marshal Mahadavar Daimeh, what's this like? Lamelech, like a king. Shegazar, he made a decree. Va'amar, and he said, B'nei Roimi, lo yerdu lo Surya. B'nei Surya, lo yalu lo Roimi. A king made a decree, and he said, I run many lands. My Roman people that I run, their land, Romans may not go down to Syria, and Syrians may not migrate up to Rome. That's a mashal for Hashem saying, before Matan Torah, spiritual things must remain spiritual. Physical things, the earth, must remain mundane and earthly. Okay? Likewise, when Hashem created the world, Gozar va'amar, Hashem decreed and said, Hashemayim shemayim la Hashem, va'aretz nosim le'adam. Spiritual things are for me, physical things are for you. When Hashem chose or wanted to give the Torah, Bitel Gezer Rishona, he removed this decree. Va'amar, he said, Hatachtoinim, the lower, Yalu le'elyonim, can become spiritual. The elyonim and the above, Yerdul Tachtoinim, can come down to the world. And then Hashem said, and Vani Hamaskal, I will begin this blending of physical and spiritual. And the pasuk tells us, Vayered Hashem al Har Sinai. Hashem comes down on Har Sinai, saying, I will begin this connection of the physical and the spiritual. Now the Ovis kept the Torah, okay? They did. They had mitzvahs, they learned Torah. The difference is everything the Ovis didn't have a tangible, lasting effect on the physical world. It was a spiritual experience, okay? It didn't change the physical reality in any way. Now that Matan Torah has happened, Matan Torah is the bond between Ruchni and Gashmi, the bond between Shemayim and Aretz, the point where Hashem meets his world and the world meets its creator, and we start a joint journey. Shir HaShirim, we say, Yom Chasanosa, Yom Simchas Liba, yeah? Medrash Shir HaShirim says, Yom Chasanosa is Matan Torah. Matan Torah is the chasana between Hashem and the Yidden. The Yidden representing the world. The next quote on the page is from Shir HaShirim Rabbah, and it explains the difference between the mitzvahs that the Ovis kept and the mitzvahs that we keep. It says, Kol ha-mitzvahs she'aso lefanecha ha'ovis reichos hayu. The mitzvahs that the Ovis kept, they were like reichos. Reichos meaning pleasant smells. They were beautiful, the mitzvahs of the Ovis. They were stunning. But they were transient, like a smell. Comes and goes. Aval anu, but us Yidin, shemen turak shmecha, our mitzvahs are like pouring oil, meaning something that is actually here, something that can be touched and felt, something that lasts from one keli to the next, to the next, to the next. The difference of Matan Torah, the chiddush of Matan Torah, the beauty of Matan Torah, is that it changed the way the world runs. Matan Torah, Hashem came down to earth. Hashem says, okay, Makdim this. Kiddush. What do we do about Kiddush? We pick up the kais. Yom HaShishi. Yeah, the sixth day. Vayichul HaShemayim v'aretz chol tzva'am. Yeah, Kiddush. Yeah. This is a pasuk from Bereshis. Perpective, Beis Olam. Yeah, Bereshis. Good. And the Mefarshim in the Chumash, Yom HaShishi, the sixth day. What do they say? That the sixth day refers to the sixth day of creation of the world, right? That Hashem finished working on the sixth day of creation. But also Yom HaShishi, the sixth day of Sivan. When did Vayichul HaShemayim v'aretz? When did creation come to its completion? When did the purpose of creation become fulfilled? On the 6th day of Sivan, when Hashem chose to come down to combine Ruchni and Gashmi. So the gift of Matan Torah, what we're celebrating in a week and a half, is the connection between spiritual and physical. Is the time when Hashem is coming to us, okay? When Hashem is coming to this world and saying, I want to be part of your physical reality. I want to be felt and made known in this lowly world. When Hashem says, I don't want your world to remain mundane, I want you through your mitzvahs of the Torah to elevate this world to me, to find me in your world. I want to join. I want this to be a chasana, a connection. The word mitzvah, yeah, what is a mitzvah?
Commandment.
That's a fancy English word, commandment. What's a mitzvah? Mitzvah miloshen in Aramaic. Tzavsa means a connection, okay? A mitzvah is a connection, a bond. Every single mitzvah, not pre-Matan Torah, where the mitzvahs were spiritual experiences, but post-Matan Torah, every single mitzvah now becomes a bond with the Eibishter. It's a phenomenal concept. Okay? So the first 2,000 years of the world were called the years of Tohu, craziness. Yeah, think about it. The Mabul, Darflaga, Nimrod, chaos, whatever, yeah? The Egyptians. Okay, first 2,000 years of the world are called the years of Tohu, craziness, chaos, everything. There was no connection. Hashem created this world in order to be felt in the world, in order to be seen in the world, in order that one day the world should recognize Hashem, the world should recognize the Eibishter, but nothing's happening. The Avos are doing amazing work. The Avos, their Avodah was higher than our Avodah. Much higher than our Avodah. We still call on Schus Avos still today. But it was transient. However, the next 2,000 years are called the years of Torah. Right? The years of Torah, from when the Torah came in 2448, a little bit into the 2,000 years. And the years of the Mikdash, the Torah, then the last 2,000 years, I mean, I guess since Churban really, is called the years of the Moshe Mashiach. Yes, Mashiach's not here yet quite, but it says when the Churban happened, the cow mooed, and that meant the Churban happened, and a cow mooed again, and that meant Mashiach was born. What, like Mashiach's going to take us out of Golus? Not quite, but the concept of Mashiach is born then. So it's bringing towards Mashiach, this terrible dark Golus that we're in. So, Tohu, Torah, Mashiach. Episode 8. So the idea is that the world lasted for so long without Torah. Now let's talk about Avram Avinu for a second. Avram Avinu did keep the Torah, and he did learn Torah. Yet we're saying it's transient, it didn't affect the world. How do we see this? When Avram Avinu comes from Haran, and he comes to Lech Lecha, he comes to Eretz Yisrael, and he comes Ve'es HaNefesh Asher Asu B'Haran. He comes together with the Nefesh, the souls he made in Haran. What's this souls he made in Haran? Gerim. Oh, Avram made so many Gerim. Where are they today? I don't know anyone who's a descendant of Avram's Gerim.
You wouldn't know by now.
We never hear of Avram's Gerim again. Yitzchak, Yaakov, Shvatim, and there's no encounter with these Gerim. Where are they?
They didn't say Yiddish?
They didn't stay Yiddish. Because although Avram Avinu managed to inspire people, okay, by Yikra Sham B'Shem Hashem Kol Olam, he made other people recognize Hashem. He was transient. They didn't remain strong. They didn't pass it on to their children, because that was how things were. Nothing, Elyonim and Tachtonim, couldn't combine. Nothing could become Ruchni.
Only Avram himself.
When Avram Avinu wanted Eliezer to make a Shavua, to swear that he would go and bring a wife for Yitzchak, not from the children of Canaan, but from his family back in Haran, yeah? How did he make Eliezer swear? Simno yacha tachas yirechi. Put your hand under my thigh. That's a nice way of saying to hold on to the bris milah. Why? Because that was the only thing he had Kaddish. That was the only thing that was tzavsa v'chibor with Hashem. The only mitzvah that was commanded, as opposed to all the other mitzvahs that he kept, which were spiritual experiences, which were amazing and incredible, but not a connection. They were all done in a spiritual way. We're going to expound on this a lot more. So the big chiddush of Matan Torah is chibur al yonim and tachtonim, the connection of the spiritual and physical, where there's a bond, where Hashem comes down into this world, where we can now make this world spiritual, where we can start the process. We became the Yiddish folk who now have a job to do of making Hashem recognized in this world. What are we doing? What's our mission in this world? What are us neshamas doing in bodies? We're here to make Hashem be recognized in the world. And that started when we became an ummah, a nation, and when Hashem gave us His Torah, meaning Torah, which is Chachamazi Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Torah, which is a rice of a Kutrabicha Kul Echad. Hashem was one with His Torah, something so beautiful, so spiritual, so special, and He gave it down to us. And He said, I want this not to be something spiritual anymore. I want this to become part of your physical world. I want the Torah to deal with oxes and donkeys and dinimominus and problems and issues and all the Gashmistic world. I want the Torah to deal with it, and I want you to make all that stuff special for me. That it's going to matter if it's a minute after Shkia or a minute before Shkia. That it's going to matter if there's a tiny, tiny, tiny bag on your lettuce. That it's going to matter if it was bottled with Shishim or bottled with 59. Okay? I want to affect this physical world, and that starts with Am Yisrael. Just a cute thing to notice in this mashal about the Bnei Roimi and the Bnei Surya, the people of Rome can't go down to Syria, people of Syria can't go down to Rome. Why Rome? What's going on? Roimi, Miloshin Roimamus. What's exalted, the Torahs, the Ruchnias, cannot come down, and now it can. Okay, a further chiddush of Matan Torah is not just in the world itself, but in us Yidden. The idea of Ata v'Chatani Kol Amim, the idea of Hashem choosing us as His folk. We're in the third part, if anyone's still following a worksheet. Yes. Not necessary, but if you are. Okay. Okay. It was a big change in the Yidden as well, in the sense that until now mitzvahs were, when the Abbas kept mitzvahs, they did it in a very ruchniistic way. Like Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in his cave, in his Meira, for 12 and then 13 years, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was not able to be Makoyim mitzvahs with B'poil in a physical sense. He didn't have a lulav, he didn't have an esrog, he didn't have a matzah, right? How did he keep his mitzvahs? Yeah. He didn't even have to stop learning Torah to say Kriyas Shema twice a day. How did he keep his mitzvahs? He learned Torah, he uplifted himself, removed himself from the physical world, and he did all the chiburim, all the what a mitzvah accomplishes spiritually speaking. He accomplished all that through his learning Torah. So he achieved mitzvah, but not in the physical sense, in the spiritual sense. The Abbas kept mitzvahs in that way. For example, the Abbas kept all the mitzvahs. So where's their tefillin? Yaakov Avinu, with the speckled and the spotted and the and he takes these woods, these sticks, and he peels them, and they should be warm or whatever, and he puts them in the water, and the sheep jump backwards. Geschäft with Yaakov, in the oven. These sticks, officially, Torah tells us, were his tefillin. Huh? Okay, I don't know what that means. But whatever a Yid today accomplishes, not physically, lamata, drawing Hashem into the world, but whatever a Yid accomplishes, geruchnius, by putting on tefillin, Yaakov Avinu accomplished that through his sticks. Did his sticks become halik? No, because nothing physical became halik through doing a mitzvah. Nowadays, did tefillin become halik? Absolutely. They need geniza, right? So what's the Atav Chatanu Mikala Amin? What did Hashem choose at Matan Torah? Hashem chose us as Yidden at Matan Torah. Hashem did not choose our neshamas. You know why Hashem did not choose our neshamas? Because there's nothing to choose. Okay? If I ask you, do you want, this cup is now empty. It looks full, but it's actually empty, okay? It's empty. Do you want this empty cup or do you want this full cup? Is there a choice there? Well, obviously, if you want a drink, you want the full cup. There's no choice. When you're choosing between better and worse, there's no choice. It's obvious. It's like, you know. Do you want a dress or do you want a schmatter? Well, thank you. What kind of choice is that? Yeah? Give it to your kids all the time. You give them these choices, they can feel like having choices. They're not having choices. Okay? So, to choose, for Hashem to choose Yidden, or Hashem's going to choose us as Yidden. There's no choice to choose our neshamas. So what did Hashem choose? Because his neshama is chelik elakami mal, his helik is getlich, is a neshama kadosha, and it goes neshama is a nefesh. It enlivens his body. It comes from, like we learn from Klippa, from Tumah. You can't compare. So what's Hashem choosing with Matan Torah? The goof of a yid. The goof of a yid became helik. That's a phenomenal thing. And our gufim compared to Goyish gufim are quite similar. The goof of a yid became helik. It's a phenomenal thing. You think back to the Yitzias Mitzrayim, yeah? We know that the Yidden left Mitzrayim, Hashem took us out, did all the Yidden leave Mitzrayim? No. Who didn't leave? 4/5 of the Yidden didn't manage to leave Mitzrayim. During Machas Choshech, they were dealt with very quietly, and only the Yidden who had Emunah, only the Yidden who wanted to leave actually left. Are those Yidden who didn't leave Mitzrayim, are they going to have Tchias Mason by Mashiach's time?
No.
I don't think so. Because they were never part of Am Yisrael. They were never part of. Yes, they were Bnei Yaakov. Yes, they were Bnei Yisrael, but they were never chosen. They never had Matan Torah. They never had that chibur. The Gufim never became Kaddish. Now, Be'ezus Hashem, very soon, Mashiach will come, and we'll all the Holich Eskom Kemir start saying we'll all go upright to Eretz Yisrael. Who's going to go? Everyone? Of course, everyone! Yeah, every single Yid will be taken by the hand personally. Kol Yisrael, the Masech Sanhedrin, Kol Yisrael, Yesh Lahem Chelik L'Olam Haba. Every single Yid is going to be included. You know, Mashiach's going to judge with his smell. Yeah, it's very scary. He's going to judge with his smell. You know what he's judging with his smell? He's going to, with his smell, he's going to sniff out how every single Yid, even the Stavar from the Yid who's off the derech and everything, is Zoicha to the gold. That's what he's going to do. Okay? Single Yid is going to be Zoicha, and that is because every single Yid entered into Kedushin with the Eibishter. The Matan Torah is a chasna with Hashem. Every single Yid was chosen by Hashem. Every single Yid was made Halik. Our bodies were made Halik. And no matter where we've gone and what we've done, every single year is included in the Hasidah. And that's because of Matan Torah. Before Matan Torah, a Yid could choose to do the mitzvahs or not. A Yid could opt in or opt out. Post Matan Torah, there's no opting out. Afal pisha chata Yisrael bu. It says, Poishe Yisrael malei mitzvahs karimai. Even the sinners of the Yid follow mitzvahs karimai. Hashem gave us 613 mitzvahs. Why? Rabbi Chanani ben Akashia Omer, Hashem wanted to lezakos Yisrael, give us zuchusim, lefichach. Therefore, here we'll have Torah mitzvahs. He gave us so many Torah mitzvahs that you got to stumble on some of them. Okay? I'm not from. I don't do that stuff. Well, you don't do kibbut of aim. Who doesn't do kibbut of aim? Every human being who isn't honest sometimes, who doesn't eat vegetables which are kosher sometimes. There isn't such a thing as a Yid that hasn't done a mitzvah. Yeah? Hashem does so many mitzvahs that every single Yid should have zuchusim. Okay, back on topic, yeah? Okay. When Hashem gave us the Torah, we said that Torah is Kedushin, is Matan Torah, is the marriage with Hashem. What is Kedushin? If you have been to the Shurim before, you know this, yeah? Kedusha, Baruch Atah Hashem, yeah? Asher Kiddishanu b'mitzvaysav. What's Kiddishanu? Kiddishanu? Kedusha, Hareat Mikudeshes. What's Mikudeshes? She's holy. Every girl's holy when she gets married? No. Hareat Mikudeshes. What's Mikudeshes? Set aside. She is now set aside from the rest of society, and she's only for him. Set aside. Mikudesh, right? Every single Yid by Matan Torah became Mikudesh to Hashem every time we do a mitzvah. Matan Torah achieved that our mitzvahs are not just spiritual experiences. Our mitzvahs are not just removing ourselves from the world and doing something for Hashem, but every single mitzvah is now a bond with Hashem. Every single mitzvah is now a deep connection with Hashem. Asher Kiddishanu, that you have Kedushin, you have set us aside, made us unique unto you, with your mitzvahs. And then, Shavous Kodesh, we have the experience of Hadlakas Neiros, And that achieves whatever it achieves l'mayla, but it also connects us to Hashem. We are Netilas Yadayim. We have Netilas Yadayim. It achieves whatever it achieves. It draws Kiddush into the world. It's ma'ala, whatever we're using. It makes Chivurim al Yonim. But the main thing is, it's a connection to Hashem. It's Kiddushanim Mitzvah. Every mitzvah has the fact that it is a mitzvah, it's a tzafsa, it's a connection to Hashem, and every mitzvah also has its detail, what it does by itself. Got that? That is what we're celebrating with Torah. When we're going to come, Vav Sivan, in a week and a half, almost 2, and we're going to celebrate Matan Torah, okay? And we're going to make a beautiful Yom Tov for our families. What is it that we're celebrating? What are we thanking Hashem for? What are we being so happy about? That Hashem has chosen us as His folk. That He has made us Kaddish. That He has given us the opportunity to be partners with Him in creation. That although Hashem created the world 5,700 whatever years ago, at Matan Torah, Yom HaShishi, on that 6th day of Sivan, Hashem made us partners with Him in creation, that through all of our mitzvahs we draw Him down into the world. On that day we became Hashem's ambassadors to planet Earth, to fulfill His mission down here. To make this world Kaddish, to make ourselves Kaddish, to draw Kedusha into the world and to be ma'al of the world to Hashem. It's a phenomenal change, isn't it?
Yes.
That's the celebration of Matan Torah. Okay. The fourth part of the page, which goes a little bit further into it. You know that Ma'asara Ma'amoris Nivra Ha'olam. Hashem created the world with 10 Ma'amoris, 10 sayings, right? Yehi Or, Yehi Rakia, Tisha Ar's Desha. If you look at Bereshis, there are 10, not 10 psukim, but there are 10 sayings. Hashem created the world with 10 sayings. Then we have, fast forward 2248 years, and we have Matan Torah, where Hashem has 10 dibros. Okay? Not 10 ma'amoros, but 10 dibros. 10 and 10. You know what's the connection between 10 and 10? The 10 dibros are there to permeate, to affect the Asara ma'amoros. Okay? To make that this world, Yehi, Rakia, Tisha Ar, Desha, should now be something to use for Hashem. That this grass is no longer just grass. This grass is now something that I can use, that I can cut these beautiful flowers, put them on my Shavous table, make a Yom Tov out of it, and now these flowers are used to serve Hashem. These flowers are now part of Yiddish Simcha. Isn't it how the flowers wait in the field to be picked by the Yiddish flowers to come to stand for them, to be chosen for, yeah? You read it in the children's books, yeah? You've read these things in the children's books, how the wheat is waiting, and it's not a joke. It's not for children. It's for real. Because, that's the reality of the world. Now, when Hashem came down on Har Sinai, Hashem said, I'm removing this gezerah of spiritual and physical are disconnected. I'm now allowing that connection to happen. And Hashem says, V'anuni hamaskal, and I will start, right? I will begin the journey by coming down on Har Sinai. Hashem came down on Har Sinai. Hashem gave us the Torah. Hashem shocked the physical world with His presence. And after Matan Torah, the Shekhinah left Har Sinai. The Shekhinah left Har Sinai. Har Sinai did not stay Halech. The Yidden were allowed to go up on the mountain. They woke up from their thing. Their Shavous were given back to them. The silence in the world stopped. Hashem said, look, I've been here. I've shown you my presence. There was a revelation of Matan Torah of Har Sinai. And now, I want to see you do the work. Now I'm giving you the Torah and this into your hands for you to start making the connection. I came forward, I came into the world, and now I'm stepping back, and now you draw me in, show me you want me to be here.
It's a bit similar to Pesach.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Very well said. Like the Pesach shir, we said Hashem schlepped us out of Mitzrayim, and then Sfiras HaOmer, we get the Mitzrayim mentality out of our head, the slave mentality. We spoke about it in the Pesach shir, yeah? Likewise, the Torah. Matan Torah Shavous is a phenomenal day, but it's a Yom Tov. It's not day, it's not weekdays, it's a Yom Tov. Hashem says, I'm coming to you. I'm connecting to you. Now you connect to me. Now you go learn Torah in your daily lives. And when you learn Torah, like in Perek Dalet and Heyat Tanya, Torah is embracing the Eibusher and Eibusher embracing us. Now you Makayim mitzvahs. You show all these things how I am present in this world. Hashem came down to the world. Basis. Kedushin, Reb Arol Sarabransky, a very old Shalom now, Elder Chassid in Melbourne, very very special man. I was lucky to see a healing upon him. He when my husband came to Australia to get married, he stayed in his house and told him that Kedushin is an ongoing experience, that you don't get married once, you get married at every single moment when you continue that into your lives. So we are needing to be continually Kedushin with the Eibusher with every single mitzvah that we do. The big events happen once, yeah? Shabbat's over now. Okay. We see this very much, in Chumash. Moshe, Leimar, Hashem says to Moshe, Leimar, what Hashem said, Leimar. So, Leimar means to pass the message on, because Hashem speaks to Moshe, and Hashem wants Moshe to tell Aaron, and then to tell the sons, and then to tell the Zakaria, and then to all the Yidden, yeah? Messages to Moshe were to be passed on. That's the word Leimar. So many times the word Leimar. Now, question. Aseres Hadibras, Matan Torah, who's there?
Or everyone.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Even us, the Neshamas from the future generations, yeah? So, who's the Leimar to Matan Torah? There's no one to pass the message on to. Everyone was there. Who are you telling? The Leimar there is that all the details of all of Matan Torah, all of Hashem coming down, all this message has to Leimar into the world. The purpose of Matan Torah is Leimar. The purpose of Matan Torah is to affect the physical world with it. Pass on this Kedusha, pass on this message. I'm coming down, I'm giving it to you once. Leimar, fly with it. Run with it. Take it with you. Okay. That's the bulk of the shir. That's like the concept, okay? The next part of the shir, which looks very shortcut, the last few dot points, but it's actually very, very, very fascinating. The last part of the shir is how this concept of Matan Torah is chibur el yonim and tachatonim. It's a connection of Hashem in the world. Hashem's coming down to the world, being part of it. It's basically like the step towards Mashiach Zeiten, really, because what Hashem created the world in order for us to make Him felt here, and when He is felt here, we will all see it, and that will be as Mashiach, right? So this process, yeah, is seen in every single part of Matan Torah. Okay? Everything about Matan Torah, if you look at it, shows you and shouts out this idea of chibur al yonim v'tachtonim. Yeah? Shavous is about cheesecake and flowers. Why? Because every single every Shabbos and every Yom Tov, yeah, you are supposed to have Oineg Shabbos. Yeah? You're supposed to have fleish on Yom Tov for Oineg. Yeah? Simchas Yom Tov is fleish and wine.
So
Okay. If Shabbos comes along, and a person had a bad dream, and a person feels scared about their bad dream, and they want to do a tainus cholim, where they fast in order to remove the effects of the bad dream, is it permitted to fast on Shabbos for a tainus cholim?
No.
Yes, it is permitted to fast on Shabbos for a tainus cholim, but then you need to fast again after Shabbos to apologize for fasting on Shabbos. Okay? But a person is permitted to fast on Shabbos for a tainus cholim. Why? Because it's a mitzvah of Oineg Shabbos. And a person might say, for me, it's not Oineg to eat cholent today. I'm so petrified of this dream, my Oineg is to fast. So generally, not going to do that. So this is called Chetzoy, leave a Chetzoy Lechem. I forgot the Lashon of the Gemara, but it's called half for Hashem and half for us. Meaning, every Shabbos and every Yom Tov, some of it is spiritual and some of it is physical. We daven and we learn, and we have the flesh and the wines, you know. And if you want to give up on your flesh and your wine because you want to be more spiritual, that's under hate. Shavous. Hakol moidim ba'akseres be'inyan nomi lachem. You heard the word Nami Lechem? Come on, it's in the advertisers even. The fleisch shop had a big fleisch, and on it they said Nami Lechem. I was like, oh my gosh. But Batzeres, Kulam Moedim Ve'inyan Nami Lechem. Nami Lechem means the part for you, completely for you. On Atzeres, on Shavous, the only Yom Tov where you may not fast, if you want to have a type of column, you may not choose to celebrate it in a purely spiritual way. Shavuos is the only Yom Tov where you must enjoy it in a physical manner with whatever that is, your flies, your cheesecake, not together obviously, your flowers, etc. Yes, there's a reason why we all get obsessed about the flowers and the cheesecakes. Because Shavuos is about celebrating in a very physical sense. Why is Shavuos about celebrating in a physical sense? Every other Yom Tov you could celebrate spiritually if you wanted to, and only Shavuos you have to have the geschmack in physical, because that's what Matan Torah is about. Because if you cannot celebrate Shavous in a physical way, you missed the point of Matan Torah.
So that's when it came together.
If you make a spiritual Shavous and you don't do flowers and cheesecakes and whatever else you want to do, you missed the point of Shavous. Shavous is that it should come into the physical, that the physical should express this Yom Tov. Well, if you have the physical and it's not permeated with the ruchni, you missed the point. You can't have the neshama without, you can't go through the neshama, yeah? If I'm allowed to add my Lubavitch 2 cents in here. It's a very, very, very big Inyan. Whoever has yourself, for your children, for your little babies, bring children to Aseret Dibros. They should hear Matan Torah. They should hear it every year. Aseret Dibros in shul. Yes, it's just shul, and yes, it's just lining of the Torah and who goes to Kriyas Torah. But the Kriyas Torah in shul is our modern day Matan Torah, and it does something for your neshama. And we bring 1 day old babies, okay? Wow. It's very, very big Inyan to the children more than anything else. It affects the neshama in such an important way. So now we're going into the details. How do we see this nekuda, what Matan Torah actually is? Inspiring the physical world of Kedusha. How do we see this in the details of Matan Torah? Here we go. Which parish is Matan Torah in? Yisroi. Couldn't find a nicer name for the parasha? The parish of Matan Torah couldn't find a nicer name. Matan Torah could only happen after Yisroi joins the Yiddish folk. Yisroi was Kohen Midyan. What kind of Kohen Midyan? He knew every Avodah Zarah in the books. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt for every single Avodah Zarah in the books. Okay? He knew it all. He fastened cows for Avodah Zarah, made it really geschmack. He'd been there, done that for every single Avodah Zarah. He visited them all. And after all his journeying, in all the Avodah Zarah, he came to the conclusion that there's only one Eibishter, he's going to do the Eibishter. Okay? Matan Torah had to affect the tachton, the lowest. Not just us Yidden with our lowest situations. And not just the world with its physicality. Matan Torah had to affect Kohen Midyan with all of his Yediyas and Avodah Zarah and all the shmutz he brought with him. And all of that has to be Malach Kedusha. When Yisroi comes to join the Yiddish folk, now we can have Matan Torah. Okay? Masechas Shavous speaks about Matan Torah, and it says everything in Matan Torah happens in sets of 3. Brich Rachmana, benched is the Eibishter. The Yehiv Oiraisen Tli Soi, that he gave a 3-part Torah. What's a 3-part Torah? Torah Nevi'im Kesubim. La'am Tli Soi, to a 3-part nation. What's the 3-part nation? Yeah. Al Yidei Tli Soi, through the 3rd one. Who's the 3rd one? Moshe Brady has a Torah, not Yaakov. So who's Moshe? How's he a 3rd? He's the 3rd child in his family.
Yeah, right.
In case you want to know if birth order matters or didn't matter, birth order matters. Okay? Moshe the 3rd in his family. The Yoim Tli Soi on the 3rd day. 3rd day of what? Shlosh Yimei HaKabbalah, yeah. 3 days of preparation, Matan Torah. But Yarcha Tli Soi in the 3rd month. What's the 3rd month? So we have five threes there, yeah? A 3-part Torah to a 3-part nation through the 3rd person on the 3rd day in the 3rd month. What is it pointing out all of these 3s for? Because what's 1? 1 is Hashem. 1's Hashem. What's 2? 2 is Machlokes. The 2nd day Hashem separated, right? 2 is 1 Hashem, and now there's another. The other. What's the other? The world that doesn't recognize Hashem. The world that says, I exist. No, you don't. I exist, right? So the Hashem, and then there's the other, I exist. Contradiction. Machlokes. So what's the third?
Shalom.
The third is Torah, which is Mechaber Beinehem, which says Hashem is one. And the world exists. But Hashem exists with the world. Hashem is brought into the world. And that's why everything about Torah has to be in threes. Because three is unity. On the third day Hashem said Ki Tov twice. On the third day all the beautiful things grew. Right?
Yeah.
So we have this concept of three around the Torah because the three is the connection between the two opposites. That's what the Torah is. The definition of Torah is Mazon Torah, not Torah in the learning sense, but Mazon Torah, Chibur al Yonim Tachtonim, the connection between the two. But you have two psukim, one pasuk says this, one pasuk says that, it seems to contradict, Vayavay HaKasav HaShlishi Vayachriya Beinehem, comes with third pasuk and makes peace between them. One pasuk says the Shechina came down on Har Sinai, the other pasuk says Moshe went up. What's going on here? The Shechina came down, Moshe went up, and the third pasuk says, Mount Torah, have it on the mountain. We find Mount Torah in Parashas V'Eschanan, Kol Godol V'Lo Yosef, a massive voice that Lo Yosef didn't end. The Pirushim said there was no echo. Why was there no echo? What's an echo? In a midbar, I don't know, I've never been to a midbar, but officially in a desert there's supposed to be an echo. And why was there no echo? Because instead of the voice bouncing off, or whatever it's supposed to bounce off from, the world absorbed Hashem's voice. Because that's what Matan Torah is about. It's about the world absorbing the Kedusha. That's why the world absorbed Hashem's voice. The Yalkut Shimoni tells us that the very first word of the Aseret was Anochi. Anochi is Lashon Mitzri. Did you know that? Anochi is Lashon Mitzri?
No.
It's a Mitzri word. Because in Lashon Kodesh you'd say Ani Hashem Alekecha. Why Anochi? Anochi is a Mitzri style of saying it. Why Mitzri? Well, the Mitzrayim were the lowest nation in Eretz Haaretz, the most disgusting type of people, the most immoral people who enslaved the Yidden and all. And to take their language and use it as the first word of the Aseret Dibros, that's about elevating the physical, changing over the tactonium, the opposite end. Yes, the very first, the I am Hashem your God, starts with Lashon Mitzri. Moving on, you have the Maisa. You all know the Medrash where B'Shosh Ala Moshe Lamora, Moshe goes up to the Eibishter, and he meets the Malachim, and the Malachim do not want Moshe to take the Torah. How dare you, a human being, Basar Adam, take the Heilige Torah, Chachamash HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which has been Gonos. It says Chem de Genuza. It's a hidden treasure, Chem de Genuza, and take it down to the physical world. You're going to interpret Torah into halachas, into time, into space, into how dare you?
What could they do with the Torah up there?
Keep it in the spiritual sense, like Rabbi Shimon Yochai did. Keep it like the others did. Interpret it in the ruchniya sense. Sharon Chamar doesn't mean Sharon Chamar. Sharon Chamar means Gabriel and Michael and Chesed and Gevurah. You know, like, come on, you don't know Sharon Chamar, right? Like, give me a break, yeah? So, Moshe, how dare you interpret Torah in such a physical sense? How dare you take the Torah in its lowest interpretation? And Hashem says to Moshe, and to them, and to the Malachim. Moshe said, I'm afraid the Malachim, they'll burn me to their fire. You know? Hashem says, hold on to my Kisya covered, whatever that means, and answer the Malachim. And Moshe says to the Malachim, the Torah says, do you have parents to honor? Torah needs to be on earth. And I give a few more such examples of how Torah needs to be dealt with in the physical sense. And the Malachim let Moshe take the Torah. Question. Malachim, sorry for my crude language, the Malachim are not silly. Okay? Malachim are Malachim. Elyonim. What taina did they have? If you wanted to know, what taina did they have? Yeah? They wanted Torah to stay ruchni. Torah is supposed to be ruchni. Torah is hachmasi shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Araisa v'kutra bichu kol achad. Hashem is one with the Torah. Torah is chem de genuza. But no, Matan Torah Hashem chose to now bring His precious treasure, chem de genuza, down to earth in order to make that connection, in order to be one with Am Yisrael, in order that we can now start working on the world, in order that we can start the journey of Torah of elevating the physical world. And Moshe won that machlokas. And for that reason we have the Torah, and we're able to, with this Torah, work on refining the world and towards the Bias Mashiach. Now here's the best one, and with this we'll end the shir. This in the Roman heart. We all know Tikkun al Shavous, yeah? Tikkun al Shavous, the men stay up and learn Torah. What's the tikkun? What are we apologizing for? The Yidden overslept. Why did the Yidden oversleep? The idea is that the Yidden had been counting 49 days waiting for Matan Torah. For 49 days they're counting. For 49 days they're waiting, when are we going to get this Torah? They're refining themselves. Finally, the day before they're going to sleep in, has your 6-year-old ever slept in the day before her birthday party? No. If something exciting is happening, you do not sleep in. What's going on here? So they felt that Torah is so spiritual, so beautiful. We've become refined. We've worked 49 levels. Now, let's put our physical bodies to sleep.
No more
And let's allow our neshamas to go to Ma'ala and Torah with Hashem. Let's allow our neshamas to experience Matan Torah. We'll be able to get it in a deeper way. And Hashem said, no, wake up. You missed the point. The point is that Torah has to be awake and alert and with you in your physical bodies and shock you in your physical existence. And that's why, years later, we stay up the night of Matan Torah. To say, we are going to learn Torah all night in our physical selves, tired, with the coffee spilling everywhere, with the, do the shalom. Yes, as we are limited human beings, because that's how Torah has to be given. Just to end off with the bar that's in a box over here.
So you want them awake, but yet he talked about the neshamas when he...
You be awake, and in your wakeful state, you are going to experience how Hashem's presence shocks us out of reality. And then he puts them back into their reality to hear the second dibra. He didn't give them the second dibra just the neshamas. He made them be alive again, give them the second dibra, and again, Parnashmasim, yeah? I want to show you what Hashem's presence looks like in this physical world. Boom. Okay? Okay. Chag HaShavous is a zman, is a time of Eis Rotzen L'mayla, is a time of tremendous Eis Rotzen above. And Hashem Yisparich is a matrid es hamakatrid. Hashem confuses the Satan about Am Yisrael. Just like Hashem confuses the Satan by the Tekiyas and Rosh Hashanah and the Heilige day of Yom Kippur. So just like Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, Hashem puts Am Yisrael first and gets the Satan out of the way in order to relate to us as we are. Shavous is like that. It's the Chasana of Hashem. It's our anniversary of the Chasana. It's where Hashem says, Satan out of the way. I'm dealing with the Yidden now. I'm resetting my priorities straight about what my creation was about. My creation was about my precious Yidden, and about being connected to them, and about them being connected to me, and about the Yidden bringing Hashem into this world. And for that reason, the Satan is silenced. And therefore, if you want to change, inner change, if you want to make a challah b'sayvus, if you want to become a better person, Shavous is a time to make those decisions, because our decisions of Shavous hold stronger, because the Satan is out of the way at that time. Anyways, to be continued next week, Be'ezras Hashem.